Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Today's video, I'm going to be making an awning on an existing porch. It's going to be about 5 feet wide and project out about 4 feet. And we're going to be using some 1.5" square tube 063 for the framing and some corrugated roofing material for the roof. I'm going to be modifying an existing handrail there and extending some posts up for the support for the awning. Be a great little project. Let's get started on today's video. Today's video is sponsored by King Metals. They've got all your fabrication needs in one location. From hinges to hardware, balusters to metal decor, brass to aluminum, and a whole lot more. You name it, they've got it. Check them out today at kingmetals.com. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, so this is the roofing material that I chose to use right here. This is what the client was looking for, so I'm just double checking to be sure everything is going to fit in place. You can see how they overlap together, and then I'm happy with the way that's going to work out. You'll see how that works a little bit later. All right, with a brand new fresh Champion blade on there. We change these things out every once in a while after I get a couple thousand cuts out of them. They're amazing. They work really, really good. But this here is cutting like butter now with a brand new blade. Like I always do, I like to make all my cuts, as many as I can prior to starting the project. And I do want to mention, I did mention in the intro that it was 1.5" square tube. It's actually 1.25" square tube is what I'm using here for the frame, and that's what's going to slide in to the 1.5" square tube that I'm going to be putting on the existing handrail that we're going to be modifying. All right, making a little adjustment right here to about 15 degrees. This is going to be for the sloped part of the awning. You'll see that it does slope about 15 degrees in about 4 feet. And that's what the client was looking for. All right, over to the fabrication table we go. And table dog's in place. And this is the back part of the frame. Now, this is part of the frame that is going to mount to the house. Now you can see that it was about 9 inches, I think, is what it was. So it is going to slope, have a little bit of a rake. Like I said, it's about 15 degrees from the house to the handrail. All right, double checking for square. And once everything is nice and square, I am laying out for the posts that are going to go, or I should say the rails that are going to go down. And this is where the grooved roofing material is going to sit inside of these. The posts are going to sit inside these groove sections of the roofing. You'll see what I mean a little bit later on in the video, how they fit right in there, and that's why I'm marking everything out carefully. And then that's how these things are going to go. These supports are going to go in there, and that's how those rails are going to fit in. Now, I like clamping everything down to my fabrication table. You know, I've had this table now for about, I don't want to say 3 or 4 years now. And when I first got it, I really didn't know how to use it for any reason. It was just a nice flat surface to work off of, which is great. But as the years go by, I'm trying to find ways to make things a little bit easier. In this case, this is what I like to do, is clamp as much down as I possibly can. And it just sure helps in the fabrication. Not only in the accuracy, but the speed of it all. So just tacking right here. And just this is going to hold the initial frame together. Once I got it tacked, I can remove these clamps, and that's just not going to go anywhere now. And flip it over and just get a couple more clamps to hold it in place, basically, and hold it down. All right, this will be welding this side out all the way. I'm operating off the HTP Revolution 2500 here. This is the brand new machine from HTP this year. It's an amazing machine. It has a lot of features and operates very smoothly. I'm very happy with it. All right, I'm just finishing the welding out process here. Now, I may have mentioned this in my videos before, but I see a lot of different fabrication people. Not on YouTube so much, but fabrication products, maybe the big box store and stuff. I like to weld my products all the way around, everything. I don't want any kind of open gaps anywhere. This allows for, no corrosion, no water to get in there, whether you paint it, you powder coat it, or whatever you do. It just sealed tight all the way around. And I noticed that some of these products, especially at the Home Depot, their panels are not welded all the way around. They're just basically almost tacked, the pickets are, in their fence rails. A little extra work, but you know, the product at the end is well worth it. And of course, I like to grind my welds down and get everything nice and smooth to make it look like it's a solid piece. I get a lot of people ask me, you know, hey, that kind of screws up the integrity or the structural value of what you're building. But you know, I've been doing this forever, and I've never had a failure. So everything seems to, I'm going to just stay with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. All right, this is the basic frame. Hope you guys kind of see what's going on here now. The tall part mounts to the house, and then this protrudes out about 4 feet. And I'm just getting it square, and this is the bottom part that's protruding out, and then obviously the roof section is going to go on the top there. I'm just tacking everything and getting everything nice and square. You know, getting square on anything you do is very important, because if you don't, you're going to have problems down the road, let me tell you. All right, so here's the roof rails, if you will, and you can see that 15-degree angle on there, and I'm going to close up both ends by putting this 1 1/4 by 1/8 inch flat bar on here, just like this right here. I do this with a lot of my posts and a lot of my rails and stuff that I do. I just don't want any open areas where water can get in. We just want it nice and sealed up. Now, in some of my past videos, and I do mention this, like on fence posts for installing for gates, I leave the bottom part open. I do leave the bottom part open on those, just in case any kind of moisture gets inside there. It has a place to escape. And of course, you never see that because it's about anywhere from 2 to 4 inches off the ground. That's the only case that I leave them open. But for everything else, I close everything up. All right, I'm just finishing this step right here, getting all of them smoothed around so they are nice and smooth and give you that illusion that it is a nice solid bar. All right, with all those sealed up, it's time to get them in place, and this is how that's going to look. And the idea is for these rails to fit in that roofing material, that in that slot that they have in the roofing material. Now, I have laid out all the marks previously. You can't really see it, but I've got a Sharpie's mark on both top and bottom here, and that's what I'm lining up to. And then, of course, I want to keep this rail flush to the top because it is mounting up against the house, and that's what I'm using that speed square for. So when I mount it, everything is nice and flush, and I don't have any issues there. Again, just tacking everything for right now. You know, I just do want to be sure that it's going to work and going to fit before I finish welding everything up. All right, I'm going to get this out of the way for just a minute, and then I'm going to bring in the roofing material. This piece here, I've already pre-cut the first piece. This is the second piece. I do need to cut a foot or so off the bottom of this, and I'm just marking it right here. Now, I believe this is like 22 gauge material, maybe 26 or something like that. It's pretty thin, and I'm just using a Mercer cutoff wheel, lightning cutoff wheel right here to cut through that. There's other ways of doing it, but this is the way I've always done it, and it seems to work really good. Now you can only imagine how sharp this edge is right here, so I'm just taking the flap disc and I'm just kind of trimming off, deburring all of those sharp edges. The last thing you want to do is have somebody get cut on this stuff, or you get cut on it as you're working on it. So not only do I finish it up with the flap disc right there, but I also came in with some emery cloth and cleaned it up further to dull that finish so there's no sharp edges anywhere. All right, with the two pieces cut, we can get this out of the way, and I can bring this in, and hopefully everything fits right where it's supposed to. And you can see that's what I'm talking about, how those posts, they fit right on the top of the ridge of that material, and then I'm really happy with the way that fits. It lined up really nice. So with that said, before I go any farther, now I can go ahead and finish welding these things out. Now it's just a little bit more heavier of attack on that part right there. I will catch the weld on the back side right here. Now this is not really structural. These things are just, you know, in place to, you know, to hold that. And then of course that roofing material is not very heavy. So I'm just going to catch a weld right here on the back side on both this, and that's going to be more than enough to hold everything in place. That is the top side, and then this right here, the bottom. All right, so the customer wanted to add a little bit of decor in here. She didn't want much. She just wanted the curved bars the way she described it. I don't want any scrolls. I don't want anything in there. I just want a little something in that big gap right here to just give it a little something. So this is what I come up with right here. It kind of matched something she already had existing. And so that's all that's there for. It's just some decor. It's aesthetic value. It's not structural value, but just a little something in there is what she was looking for. All right, and here comes the roofing material. We're just about finished this project up. Now I'm attaching some self-tapping screws. Now these self-tapping screws, they come with rubber washers, and it would be ideal in this situation right here, but I elected to go without the rubber washers. This is getting powder coated, so it is going to be going into a 400 or 500 degree oven, and that rubber would melt off. So I am just going with some standard self-tapping with some big heads on it. Now, will this leak? It may have a drop or two come through there, but maybe not. I'm not too worried about it. She's not too worried about it. I had mentioned it to her, and she said that's going to be fine. We're not going to have any leaks there. You can see the little post at the very bottom. I don't know if you caught that or not. You probably missed it. That was a little too late. But those little posts on that awning were just something that I added for that to slip into on this existing rail right here. And this is the rail that I'm having to modify. This was in place. I took it down. I need to extend these posts up right here. Now this is 1.5 inch square tube, and that's the 1.25 inch will be able to slide right inside of this. We're going to extend these up about 4 feet. On this side of the post, I'm cutting this one completely off and replacing it. The other side, I don't really want to do that, and I'll show you why here in just a little bit. All right, yes, I am using a 4-inch angle grinder with a 6-inch cutoff wheel. You know, I have that angle grinder set up specifically for those reasons. It does not have a guard on it, and if you use angle grinders without a guard, please be careful. I have not had any accidents, but I've seen several videos that the accidents do happen that way. The reason why I have that on there is because I need that extended 6 inches to get deep cuts like I just did right there. So that's the only angle grinder I have without a guard. All right, I'm just trying to replicate the existing post right here. They got a little cheesy little bracket on there. Mine's a little bit more heavy duty. And once I got it shimmed up into place and everything lined up right where it's supposed to be, I'm happy with that. And of course I went to tack, and you can see that I'm shimmed up with some 2x4, so there's no contact to the welding table, so I had to move my ground clamp on top. And of course I put it right back in the welding table. Nope, it's got to go on the end right there. Sometimes you get carried away and you're not really thinking. You're focusing on what you're doing and you're not paying attention to other things. All right, and I'll clean that up the best I can. And that side is done. Now this is the other side. That's what I'm saying. It has a step down. So that flat part of the handrail goes on the porch, and this step down, it handles the steps that step off the porch. I don't want to interrupt the bottom part. You can see that mounting bracket at the end with the holes on it, that's got a pattern that this thing fits on. So I didn't want to take that post out completely. I'm just going to take this section off right here. This is all I really need. The handrail that goes down the stairs, everything lines up perfectly. So the only thing I'm trying to do right here is just remove this section right here and replace it with that extended post. Now this is something you really got to be careful with. And when you've got existing handrails that's locked in like this, that's why I'm taking my time, especially with no guard. This has a tendency to flex and bind if you cut through. So I'm really taking my time. You notice I'm way out of the way of that. I don't want any issues where that's going to flex through and bind. So once I got close, I'm just going to pound this thing out. All right, so now I've released the pressure, and now I can go ahead and finish cutting this out. Cut's got a little bit crooked there. Yeah, you can see I got to do a little bit more trimming to make that line up on both ends of the cut. A little sloppy there. But I got it all cleaned up, got everything ground down. Take some paint off to accept some weld. And let's see how this lines up. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna sight it through. Yep, everything is good. I'm gonna hold it right there, get a couple tacks in place. Ground clamp, of course. Double check the measurement. All right, everything is good, and that's gonna take care of this section right here. So with the awning and this handrail complete, off to the powder coaters it goes. After I make my last measurement. And there it is installed. All right, that was a great little project. The customer is really happy and it served its purpose. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.